have found the Genesis frequency. This is Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina welcoming you in to another episode of a show that focuses on your whole life prosperity and success. Whole life prosperity and success by cooperating with the universal laws that are available to each and every one of us. This is Quantum Leap Goal Achievement, Radical Personal Transformation, Whole Life Prosperity and Success. Now, stay tuned for another exciting episode that'll move the needle in your life from where you are now to where you want to be.
And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time of day it may be, wherever you are in the world. When you hit that play button, so glad you did. You have found the Genesis Frequency Podcast, and this is Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kazmina coming at you with another episode. So glad you are here, whether it's for the first time or whether you are a repeat regular listener. I welcome you all, and I am profoundly grateful for each time every one of you hits the play button. So thank you for that. Like to get that in there and practice gratitude right off the bat. That's something that we should all do. Something I like to model and demonstrate gratitude. Boy, it's so powerful. It really is. Hey, I wanted to get into some R&R today. You know, I looked back and realized since the beginning of the year, I've been pushing. Hey, what is it that you want? What is in your way? Giving you exercise after exercise, step after step after step, examinations to do, explorations to do, all within your own consciousness to examine, to help move you, to help you make that quantum leap from where you are now to where you want to be. Because that's what this show is all about, whether it's for you personally or professionally or in the corporation, on the team, whatever it is. We want to get to that place where we can say, yes, we have achieved our vision, our goal, our desire, our aspiration, whatever that may be. And hopefully you're working on a big one. And it's just been push. Looking back over my podcasts, and I think they're all great. So I think you should listen to them all again. But I want to stop for a moment. I want to just hit that pause button because I don't have often go to this place because I got to remind myself too. And if I got to remind myself, well, it's my show. So I figure it's a good time to remind my listeners as well to do some R&R. I just got done with a R&R retreat, rest and rejuvenate, rest and relax. And it's so important. And when we're driven, right? Most of you are. If you're listening to a show, especially if you're listening to this show on a regular basis, you're probably very driven yourself. You tried a lot of different things and maybe they didn't work for you. You've moved into the realization that, hey, I have to do something different because doing the same thing over and over and over again is not going to get me the different results, the results that I want to experience. Well, a big part of this process is yes, everything that I've talked about over the last almost 5 years, especially the laser like focus I've put on goal achievement since the beginning of this year, but it also includes making that time for that bathing of the soul through R&R that I like to call it, that self-care, that putting on of our own oxygen mask, just letting go, letting it hang out, so to speak, and just breathing into some relaxation. And, I'm not talking about what I often talk about, which is, hey, kick back, take 5 minutes, take a deep breath, practice the silence. Yes, we want to do that on a regular basis, but I'm talking about some deep R&R that is actually an inner cleanse. And I like to call it bathing the soul, a refreshment for our soul. So often we look at, well, what are you talking about when you're talking about soul? What is that? And that's really a sum total of everything that we are, everything that we're holding in consciousness, everything that we look at and recognize as what we are. You're not what you do, okay? You're not your physical body, but I'm talking about your essence and what you are. Cleansing at that deep, deep level. And you can Google this. I'm not sharing anything that is earth-shattering or mind-boggling, or I never thought of that. But look at this more as a reminder of the different things that we can actually plug into our calendar, into our to-do list, and make it a point that this is a regular part of our routine. We've talked about, hey, what habits have to go? What non-productive activities have to be released in order for me to accomplish what I want to accomplish in a much shorter period of time? Well, we've also talked about when we intentionally identify something, we intentionally move something out of the way, we have to intentionally put something in its place, right? So we talked about that. We talked about what do we put in its place? Well, we put together and put in its place productive activities, affirmative statement, both for the intangible experiences we wish to have and the intangible characters and qualities of characters that we want to install as programming, yes. But this is another habit that we can get into. R&R on a regular basis. What can you do to bathe your soul? And that's what I want to take a look at today. And let's just jump into some things that we can take a look at. And I'll share with you some of the favorite things that I do when I know that I need a reset. And reset's a good word. There's another R word. So we got rest and rejuvenate and relax and, refresh, right? Regenerate. So think about it like with all our devices in this day and age that we live in. When something is starting to freeze up, right? A program isn't working. No matter what we do, no matter what we click, whether it's our phone, our laptop, our desktop, our TVs for that matter, or anything that is, digitally programmed to operate in a certain way. What are we instructed to do when we call tech support? Usually the first step they take us through, and this can be with your cable company or anything else, it's to unplug, right? Hey, I want you to unplug the device and leave it unplugged for 30 seconds. Pop the battery out if you have a battery that's accessible and just let it be, right? And often, if we do that long enough, if we're not impatient and just plug it back in after, oh, say a half a second, right? Well, we plug it back in, and boy, it seems like 9 times out of 10. I don't know if there's statistics on that, but boy, it seems like that really takes care of the problem, doesn't it? So that's what we're doing here. That's what we're talking about here, unplugging and resetting our very soul. We kick back and you find your own practice, but when you find what works for you, I invite you to adopt it as one of those good habits that we've been talking about. Make it a habit. Look at your list. If you've been working along with me, look at your list of the habits that are non-supportive to what you want to achieve in your life and make these R&R things, are the good habits that you want to install, that you want to start practicing, that you want to make a regular part of your routine. Now, I'm talking about encouraging you to do some long R&R, a day, a two, a weekend, but we can take little bite-sized chunks of these and integrate them throughout our workday, throughout our work week, throughout our month. You can break this up however you want to break it up. I really encourage you to do some long self-care stretches, a day or two or three, even a week. We tend to call those vacations and rarely take those of us that are really driven. But look at some little things. Some of my favorite things are simply just some meditation. And you don't have to get really deeply spiritual and plug in a bunch of religiosity around this. You can just say, hey, I'm going to kick back. I surrender. I let go. And just focus on your breath. Just let go and just breathing it. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, and saying, you know what? I'm not thinking about anything in the outer world, on the to do list, anything for the next few minutes, for the rest of the afternoon or the day or the weekend. And just breathe. Be conscious of your breathing, though. Notice it. Notice the inhaling and the exhaling and the natural rhythm. Don't try to control it in any way, shape, or form. Just notice it. See, when you do that, you're being fully present in the moment. You're not letting your mind wander off to the worries, the doubts, the fears of what may never happen, right? You're not drifting off to some stress-filled future that will probably never take place. You're not going the other way and drifting into a state of anxiety, thinking about the past and judging yourself, right? That criticizing of ourselves and that being a hard, you know, critic and judge of ourselves is one of the worst things we do to ourselves. So just in that breathing and that light meditation, just let it all go and let this be a lengthy time period that you do this. I love to visualize. And I got this from the late Dr. Norman Vincent Peale. He had me, and I wrote this down on a card, and when I would carry this when I would walk, and it just said, "Let the most peaceful vision that you have ever experienced, that you have ever witnessed in your life, pass across your mind again and again and again." So I would go through that internal filing cabinet and I would just access, that time by the stream or the lake or the sunrise or the sunset or whatever it was just in nature and let that become my inner sanctuary. And we can even call in our power of our imagination and build out a sanctuary. Now, I encourage you, if you have the room to do this, to build out a little sanctuary in your own home that has no work related kind of thing in there. I mean, you can walk in there with a book or something or some inspirational or motivational material if you want when it's your time. But if you have the room or the space or a closet or that spot under the stairs, build it out, fill it up with just things that inspire you but yet relax you at the same time. And what you're doing when you go to that place, and you can make this as simple as just go to your desk, turn your chair around, and have a candle, maybe a scented candle that just starts to train your consciousness that, hey, this is the time. I have a little singing bowl. I just ding it 3 times, and it's like it trains my consciousness. Hey, this is the time to just shut off the activity, to put on my own oxygen mask, so to speak, and take care of me. So that's one way. That's one of the things that I like to do. Another way, and it's been said, good classical music is does for the soul what a bath does for the body. Put on some music. Maybe you're just one of these that has to listen to the news. Maybe you're driven by what's happening in the market and all these other things. You have to know what's going on. Maybe it's even part of your job. You have to be up on current events all the time. Or maybe your habit is just listening to some kind of driving music. I know a lot of people that they just got to have that hard. They got to whatever it is, hard rock and roll going on all the time to keep them awake and alert, right? And switch it up a little bit. It's like throwing a changeup pitch in baseball, right? You're throwing that to your subconscious mind. Here's something different. It's like a pattern interrupt. And it's good for us. Just let yourself immerse and bathe in the beauty of classical music or some new thought music, new age music that has no real minor tones, so to speak. So it just allows your soul to float in this cleansing energy and take time to do that. Take time to ground yourself, slip your shoes off, slip into maybe you can put your toes in the sand by a beach or just get out in nature. That is another good one too. to do this inner cleansing work. Sometimes I'll notice, man, I am just driving and driving and driving so hard that, man, it was beautiful outside today. And a week or 2 or 3 weeks will go by, and it's just like I missed all these nice days. So I set the intention. I got to get outside. I got to get in nature. And yeah, sitting on the porch or on the patio is great, but boy, if you can just drive a little ways and just get out and experience and breathe in the majesty of creation. Do that for you. Take the time, drive the extra mile so you can immerse yourself in all the goodness that is all about you. Notice what you're noticing. Notice the birds and the trees and the flowers and the smell in the air, and take that. Fine, go out and seek those moments that I talked about, the most peaceful scenes, right? And let them make an indelible mark on your consciousness so that you have added to your filing cabinet memories of getting out and going in nature. And again, these are things you want to make into a regular habit. Maybe there's a different class or some fellowship activity or some kind of spiritual group you can get involved in that focuses on self-care, that kind of thing. Take some positive inspirational books to your quiet time. Sometimes we're so driven to always fill our spare time with material that maybe it will help move us along in our career or our job or in our small business. And maybe it's time to pick up a fiction book. Maybe it's time to just pick up pieces, if you're not used to doing this, pieces that are inspirational to you. And I love short daily inspirations. And just, I'm going to take that piece that really, really speaks to me, and I'm going to just take it into my quiet time, take it into my quiet internal sanctuary, and maybe reflect on it, or maybe just again allow my soul to be in that hot tub of that inspirational piece. Just reflect on it and listen to positive material. Maybe it's a positive talk. Maybe we kick on YouTube and there's an inspirational speaker that we really really like and we haven't heard from in a long time, or an audio book where we can just listen to nuggets and stop it there and just float on that nugget that makes you feel good. Float on it like it's taking you on a magic carpet ride. Again, classical music for any personal development. Some favorite affirmations. Maybe you wrote them down and you got away from it. Maybe you pick up another book, Your Word is Your Wand, or things like that, that just have affirmation after affirmation. Lock into one or two or three that are very powerful for you personally. When they speak to you personally like that, when you notice an energy shift, usually an energy shift that's uplifting, lock in on that and take that into this R&R time. And don't forget other things like Thanksgiving, practicing gratitude. Anytime your mind drifts out of the moment, you want to rush back to, I am missing an email, I'm missing some work, I should be doing this, and you start to get critical, just move yourself to a place of gratitude. Gratitude is so powerful, and it's something that we always want to include, especially when we're in that sanctuary or out in nature, or we're listening to that music, we're bathing our soul, just to be in gratitude for our very soul. See, gratitude will shift us to that neutral place of appreciation for all of life's blessings. And then we get in the habit of looking for the good. No matter what the experience is, even if the experience is one of irritation, annoyance, frustration, there's good in that. I guarantee it, there's good in that. And the gratitude will help us to zero in on the good, to notice that, to extract that, and sprinkle it in to this bath we are taking for our very soul. So, just a few tidbits, just a reminder really to practice some R&R, to relax, to rest, to rejuvenate, to reset you. I hope this has been, here's another R, a reminder to do that for you. And when you do this and you make this a regular practice, you will come back stronger, more on fire, more passionate about your dreams, your goals, your desires, your aspirations, whether it's a personal thing you're working on or a professional thing you're working on. Hey, you need help with this? Reach out to me. We can talk about it. We can talk about where you are, where you want to go, and what's been in your way. Love doing that. Just get on my calendar, successappointment.com. Hey, if you want to enter into this wonderful world of personal and professional development, leadership development, I have an opportunity that I'm currently interviewing for now to move you into the laptop and cell phone lifestyle. And I'm looking for a few people. I don't take everybody, so I do conduct an interview. But if you'd like to have an interview and see if this is something that works for you, see if we're an energetic match to work together, reach out. Go to successocean.biz. I recently posted a new video in that on that website. So take a look at that, see if anything I share resonates with you, and reach out to me and we'll have a conversation just to see if we're a match. And if it is, I'll get you educated fully on what's available to you. It's very lucrative. So for now, hey, we're going to wrap it up. We're out of time for today. I want to thank you again. Profound gratitude for each and every listener. Reach out. I would love to have a conversation with you. But for right now, we're going to wrap it up. You've been listening to the Genesis Frequency Podcast. And this is Dr. Cause and Effect, Dr. Stephen J. Kosmina, wishing you an infinitely spectacular day. God bless you.